One. Welcome everyone to another day in the life of. Today I have a content management department. I'm super happy because I also get to speak again with my ex-colleagues Camille and Jonathan, and I get to know Jane. So Jane, Jonathan, and Camille, thank you so much for joining me today and for talking about your roles. So before we start to dig deeper into the department, just introduce ourselves, tell us what you do at your company. Feel free to promote the company as well. That's why we are here. So let's start with Jane.
Hi, I'm Jane. I'm the director of content at a company called UXCam. And we are a mobile app analytics company, and we help product managers. And my job is basically as a content director, is to make something like mobile app analytics somehow sound sexy and interesting to people, and not like the three most boring words you've heard. And and to get leads. So that's me.
Amazing. Sounds great. Camille.
Hi, thanks for the invitation. First of all, really happy to be here. So my name is Camille. I am originally from Belgium. I'm based in Berlin, and I work as a senior content marketing manager for a company called Price Hubble, which is a prop tech company, pretty much building solutions, valuation solutions, and market analysis solutions for real estate, residential real estate. And I'm pretty much leading our content marketing strategy and operations. I've been doing that for about 2 years. And before that, I was working at Applause together with you and Jonathan. I have about 5 years of experience in B2B SaaS content marketing.
Yeah, and you do a great job. I can vouch for that because I used to work with you. So same with you, Jonathan. Last but not least.
Yeah, thanks also for having me. It's a great pleasure. And I've seen your podcast, Mafalda, for some time, so I was already keeping an eye on it. I'm Jonathan. I'm currently based in Brussels. I came from Berlin, so it's kind of the other way around. Like
That's funny.
I'm going through the bees. You know, I used to live in Barcelona, Berlin, now Brussels. So I don't know what's next. Bielefeld, hopefully not. I'm working at ID Now. So we are a reg tech company, regulatory tech. So it's identity verification. You know, it's for bank accounts, for crypto exchange platforms, gaming, getting players onboarded for sports betting. And we are kind of giving the software, the technology, and we are making sure that the companies can adhere to regulations and laws, and especially also can still like offer a very fast, speedy, and convenient onboarding. So onboarding experience, customer onboarding, this is also what we are up for. So it's not only about security, but it's also about customer experience, and it's also about, I don't know, hopping in a car sharing, and so on. And if it doesn't work, if it's taking too long to verify yourself with a document, then you're going to the competition. So we are also all about speed and velocity. And I'm leading the content marketing efforts and then a couple of other things, also having my toe into UX, UI design a bit with some others. So it's a really cross collaboration, I would say. And we are also quite international team. And I've been working at SaaS B2B already for quite some years, and also tech. So yeah, I like that niche. It's kind of a very nice industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And we worked very closely together. I was in a different department. I was in business development. I still am. But I remember, collaborating really closely with you and the marketing department at the time. I was always a fan of the department because anything you can give me to use on my outreach, I will. No, thank you so much for being here. And let's just jump into the topic. Let's start generic and then go specific. Jane, what are the main responsibilities of a content management?
Well, first juggling, some magician work. But if you want to be more specific, just making sure that we communicate like our values and our I'm just getting over a cold, so I have major brain fog.
Yes, thank you so much for being here anyway.
Sorry. So in terms of content management, we have to manage our different channels. So like webinars, YouTube videos, social, our blog content, and pretty much making sure that our key messages are communicated through our content, and to make sure that we are educating our customers, not just like on our product, but our value propositions, and basically not direct selling and telling a story and talking about the problems, but making it easy to find a solution, which is us. So this is what we do with all of our content. We say, here's the industry problem, here's your pain points. By the way, here's a solution. So that's how I would say like what my job is, like in a nutshell. And for me, I basically just check in with all the other, like the content, like the blog article, the blog writers, the video producers, the designers, and making sure that we're all telling the same story and the same message.
Yeah. Is it the same for you, Camille, or does it differ somewhere?
Yeah, I would say it's pretty similar. I think, yeah, it's for me really a mix between planning and communicating and syncing with different stakeholders, and also creating content myself together with my closest colleagues. And yeah, I think generally the goal is the same for all of us, right? It's to increase the visibility of our brand and also really create something valuable that will, in the long run, or sometimes not so long run, help us generate qualified leads. And yeah, I would say at Priceable, we focus a lot on in content marketing, at least on top of the funnel content, mostly thought leadership, trends, sort of how-to educational content. So I think, yeah, pretty similar, and the formats are also pretty similar to what you mentioned. So webinars, video, white papers, ebooks, blog, the usual formats, I would say. Yeah.
I love all of that. You know, it's yeah. As I said, anything I can use, I will. Jonathan, how is it for you? Same thing? Do you have anything different?
So what I really like is pioneering, exploring, building up also new teams, and I would say like my industry where we are at, so it's still B2B, still SaaS, still tech. It also comes with lots of non-self-explanatory services and products, so it requires lots of education before people can actually make a buying decision.
Yeah.
However, also our channels is quite spread out, so we have events, we have webinars, we have all kinds of stuff. And in some verticals, you can see that people are more eager to talk to, like thinking about buying decision when they actually meet the people. However, still remote work, still lots of online channels going on. So for me in my daily role, I would say I'm a bit of a pioneer, mapping out new stuff, kind of reinventing, disrupting what we do, question the status quo. Then there's of course the big daily business, and then there's yeah, always trying to improve things. It's almost a bit like a gardener where you look after your seedlings and you kind of check in, but then you
Yeah.
wonder, okay, now let's get a new tree in here so that it kind of kills everything we have right now to make it even better. And the great thing is my industry is kind of smallish. There's lots of consolidation, many players eating up the other ones, you know, the big shark eating the little fish. This is happening all the time. But I would say marketing wise, it's still relatively fresh and it's not that fast paced in some regards. So it's really interesting. I would say it's definitely smaller industry than fintech or insurtech or the other tech.
I
Yeah.
love the image you give with the garden, because I think it really explains very well what content marketing and marketing does in general. I love that. Jane, how does your typical day look like, aside from all the juggling, or plus the juggling?
I would say probably checking up with my team first, and everything is part of the juggle. So just seeing like our socials, how the articles are doing, seeing if anyone wants me to help like edit something or sign something off. And then there's like, I'm sure like as content marketers, you guys have project managed a webinar before. And are we allowed to swear on this show? But
Please, yes, I love swearing.
well, Okay, I've hyped it up too much. Yeah, but sometimes webinars can be a total clusterfuck because there's like 100 different steps, right? And there's all these different dependencies. And so basically that's like a big part of the day is like making sure like, was that task defined clearly on like, you know, and everything from the creation of it. It's like, does the story we're telling align with the story that we want to tell? It's surprisingly not self-explanatory, like, or like obvious. And, you know, we're a very data-driven company, so we have to constantly be checking to see like if what we're doing is resulting in leads. Is the story we're telling, are we telling it to the right person? Is it the right audience? Or are we just telling something that's going to attract people who are not right for us? So that's what pretty much the whole day is making sure like, is this the right story? And it's constantly evolving as well with like the trends. So staying on top of those. But yeah, a typical day is basically checking up on, yeah, checking up
Checking
on
on the
whether we're telling
garden.
right.
Checking on
Yeah,
the garden.
and there are hella weeds like that gotta be pulled all the time.
I can imagine. As we are still there, so you manage one challenge, and we can talk about that as well. Which other challenge would, in general, mention that are very typical in this role, Jane?
Ooh, probably keeping up with the content trends. Two, trends and industry trends like macroeconomic trends that we can't change. And the next is attracting the right leads, because you know sometimes the best content that's quite interesting doesn't attract the customers who would actually convert, especially if you're like a B2B SaaS company. It's quite niche. You know, you can create great content that will attract a lot of job seekers and students. It's like, but then that's not the audience we're looking for. Um, so yeah, and right now, like I'm sure we all had experiences with the recession. We had a plan. We carefully planted all these seeds, and then the recession happened, and everyone dropped their pants. Doesn't have anything to do with gardening. Let's just change. Let's just change everything because all the
Yes.
budget that was meant for us is now gone. So it's time to pivot. So I would say that's a big challenge, I think, for every department actually.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I love that. Camille, I saw you nodding a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more. I think just to double down on the first challenge mentioned, of course, understanding your audience is really at the heart of what we do, especially working in B2B, SaaS content marketing. You really, most of the time, or actually all the time, pretty much address a super technical, highly skilled audience. And it's especially challenging if you're not coming from the industry. Like, for example, I'm not coming from prop tech initially. I mean, now it's been 2 years, so I got the time to really learn a lot about it. But it's I think one of the main challenges, and keeping up with the industry, trying to not be in that reactive but really proactive position, also where you can really identify as early as possible the trends and the topics you can tackle. And I think also to add to what Jonathan said, the part about experimenting and really trying out new formats and so on, I think that can be quite challenging, especially when working in fast-paced environments. You want to make sure that you're not getting, too much into the operational side, or so much that you don't keep time to really take a step back and be like, okay, which format am I going to try next? And I think that, Jonathan, is something that you always did a lot. Really trying to see the bigger picture and try out different formats and new methodologies and so on. That's something I really try to keep from working with you. I try to apply it as well, but it can be a challenge, definitely, because sometimes you have your to-do list, that just sometimes doesn't look like it's getting any shorter, and then
No,
you're
no,
like,
no,
"Okay,
no, no. It
let's keep
stays. Yeah,
trying for
yeah. It keeps
actually
growing.
trying out
Yeah.
new things."
And
And
I would just,
thinking,
and I
sorry,
would
go
say
ahead.
that, Camille, sorry, that also in this fast pace, you also don't have time to actually reach a conclusion if that worked or not, right? Because there are things, especially in marketing, that takes time. So if things change all the time, you don't know if your initiative was successful or not if you don't stick to it relatively a certain amount of time. Am I wrong?
No, I think that's a pretty common challenge as well. I think keeping time for experimenting and for really properly measuring results and so on is kind of key. Definitely. Yeah, that's
Jonathan,
have
would
to.
you say you have a different day? Do you organize differently? And what are your challenges?
Yeah, so thanks, first of all, Camille, for the nice words. It's good old times. Yeah, I would say challenges. I can kind of double click on what Jane already said. So, I mean, data centricity is kind of a bit of a no-brainer. Attracting the right leads is always good. I mean, always important. Also, especially when you're still in a relatively fresh, like new market, you really haven't cracked up one single market or one single channel. So then you're always wondering about, are you attracting the right leads? Um, and so that's one thing. The other thing is definitely to kind of distinguish in between activities, things that you can do, and they will suck up your time and they will keep you busy, but they are not getting you anywhere. It's not really sustainable, not really long term. So you want to see what's moving the needle, what's the bigger picture, and then also where you have just random activities. So I think this is a bit of a discipline and gut feeling, and sometimes also to really make sure you bet on the right horse, and maybe you can still do a good job, but you're not going the extra mile on this because you need to focus on something else. And I think this is also a nice challenge, also to communicate that to your team and to make sure everyone is kind of also on their path doing what they are doing in your content team. And that's a very nice challenge, I have to say. And so about my daily life, I would say these days it's definitely lots of check-ins. I have some daily business. I still love the hands-on stuff, but I also have some strategy things where I try to move something around that will help me in the long run. Yeah, other than that, it's also alignment. We are a big team, big company. We have lots of products, lots of services going on, and we are still in a big change. We acquired two competitors, so there was like a merger happening. We explore new markets. So there's lots of things going on which require lots of alignment. So this is also, yeah, really playing a huge role in my weekly schedule, which is totally good. Yeah.
I love that. I love you describe a very challenging, and then you finish with, which is totally good, totally fine. Love the attitude. Jane, what does success mean in your role besides attracting good leads?
Oh, that's literally all it means. That's like
Well,
literally.
that's
I
that's
mean,
fine.
I mean, UX Cam is it's like a data-driven company, so we try to like practice what we preach. And yeah, our North Star is basically to make sure that we're convincing people that this is the product that will solve their solutions. For me personally, success means that people are happy at their jobs who are on my team, because it can be very stressful to constantly change strategy or just in
Yeah,
general, to, these challenges that I mentioned, keeping up with the trends, like they're very hard on people, right? Because they have to
yeah.
be very like agile, they have to pivot, they have to be swift, they have to be adaptable. And just being able to like manage those changes, especially right now in this economy, I think that success is to make sure people are like,
They are
yeah,
not going cuckoo. They're like, oof, we
well, they're
still
going cuckoo,
we know.
but yeah, I'm going cuckoo. And so yeah, success is being able to like roll with the punches and like to manage like how the job and the company like is evolving. It is a real skill, like adaptability.
It is. It
Um,
is.
yeah.
I can totally relate with you. And in terms of like KPIs, do you have, like you said, you're data driven? Do you have KPIs for your like hard KPIs? You know, if for sales is number of bookings or amount of revenue. What it is for you?
For us, it's like qualified leads. So there's a certain set of parameters for what is considered like a high fit, like potential customer. So so those are the types of leads. So we categorize our leads, whether they would be like accepted by sales as someone who could potentially convert. Because in order to be a customer, it's like quite niche, you know, like our software has to fit with theirs. You know, yeah, they need to have like the company needs to have the team to use our company, like to use our software. They need to have like yeah, the right industry that like would fit, that they would benefit from it. So we have this criteria of what classifies as like a high fit qualified lead. And so it's not just leads, because otherwise I'd be a millionaire if I was like any lead, but it's a very specific set of parameters, and that's what we have our eye on. Yeah, that's the case. That's just the main that's the biggest KPI. And of course we have like our social growth and the engagement, but ultimately it's all about like who we're bringing in to the company.
Yeah, and which deals you influence as well, right? So if it's maybe started from a webinar or any marketing initiatives.
Yeah, and that affects the content strategy, because if it's content that's hard to attribute, then we don't really do that kind of content. But it's something like a webinar where the registrant is like quite clear, and you can also see on LinkedIn what kind of company they come from. So we really try to tighten our kind of our idea of what we want.
Yeah, makes sense. Camille, how is it for you? What is success, and how do you measure it, if you measure it?
So I think in terms of KPIs, yeah, no big surprise. The KPI is the same, qualified leads, as pretty much everywhere, I guess. And then next to that, yeah, I would say we, of course, measure the reach of our content or the visibility it gets in terms of, for example, SEO or also on social media, the engagement, whether, I don't know, it's via, for example, email marketing or other channels, or just seeing the engagement of the users on the page. I think in terms of KPIs, that would be it. And I think more generally, what success means, again, coming back to this idea of bringing value to our target audience, that's really the idea there, is to create something that's actually catering to their pain points and most pressing questions. And yeah, and I think that's pretty much it, really. Maybe one more thing to add. It's absolutely not really a hard KPI, but I think it's always good to hear sometimes from customer-facing teams when a lead or even an existing customer has some really good feedback to share about a piece of content that you've published. I think that's always a nice little bonus.
100%, and that also helps. Like, for example, with customers, it also helps, maintain the relationship, right? So I'm head of customer success here at Wonderway, and if customers say that they like our content or they go to a webinar, I'm super happy, and for me that's very valuable, because it improves the emotional bond, and that's important as well with the brand. So absolutely, I think that's very relevant indeed. Jonathan, how is it for you?
Yeah, also qualified leads, of course, growth overall, also during all the changes to still let the channels grow that I'm responsible for. I would say apart from that, developing a secret sauce, meaning we know what works and what not, and we know how to scale it to grow it, and also to know when certain formats reach their climax and of potential, so that it's kind of exhausted and it doesn't make more sense. I mean, the classic example in early stage startups, I think we all experienced that. You have really nothing going on with regards to marketing, and you pour all your marketing dollars in Google Ads, and then you have, I don't know, cost per lead like 2,000 euro, and then you're thinking, wow, let's do it, let's get some more out of it. But everyone knows this is really bullshit. So that's like an extreme example, of course. But I mean, we are already like in hyper growth phase, so this was a bit of a memory from my Berlin days. So it's not nothing that we are doing right now.
But you're right, it happens
it's
in
really like,
many companies.
Those days are
yeah,
over,
if
hypergrowth. We miss them.
yeah, no, but if
We do.
you're,
We
for instance,
forgive them.
if you're,
Please come back.
Yeah.
yeah, if you're running webinars, for instance, for a certain vertical, and then at some point you figure out the right cadence, how often you should do it, so that you're not overdoing it in a sense. And what I also mean by secret sauce is a bit a playbook kind of things, hacks you do, initiatives, projects. We do also lots of content pruning, for instance, and that kind of boosts our traffic. So it's also really about kind of knowing what moves the needle, what I mentioned also earlier. And sometimes you don't need to reinvent the wheel or do things from scratch. You can just intensify what you already have. You can make it better. And I would say this is something that works in every company a bit different. So you need to figure that out. And for me, I try to transfer that knowledge, pass on also a certain mindset to my direct reports to the team and to the wider team. So I would say personally, my goal is also to help to establish a certain culture of collaboration, of innovative thinking, critical thinking, those things. This is like kind of my personal goals, how I roll. But yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah, that sounds great. And in terms of, and we can continue with you, Jonathan. So we, Jane, Camille, and you mentioned a lot that you have to bring value to your prospects and customers, and you need to pass a certain message. How do you get inspired? So what I mean is, how do you how's your, let's say, knowledge gathering process for you to say, okay, let's do a webinar on this, or let's do a white paper on that, or this is the content strategy for. So what's usually the process behind?
Um, so I would say there's definitely some mindset, some things that kind of are a bit your North Star, like in the daily business, wherever you go, whatever you do. So for me, it's definitely curiosity. Um, I do learn a lot from others. I follow, connect with so many people on LinkedIn. I do have some friends which work in similar industries. Sometimes they are way ahead of me in terms of SEO, so I can also pick their brains, like just among friends. So I have different sources where I learn. LinkedIn a lot. I pick up a lot of things there. And sometimes even from posts, I see like a new hack, something to try out. But for me, it always needs to fit into an existing core, like something where I feel like this is what we do, this is what we should do, and it doesn't make sense to add it to it. Because I also remember again Berlin startup. Sorry to be a bit
I
whiny
feel a
and
trauma
complaining
here.
about.
I feel a trauma.
But yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
No, but I also back in the days I was also in a team where there was someone and he was just hopping on every single activity, everything he saw, and it
It's the
doesn't really
FOMO.
make sense for us. And
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So not that kind of stuff, but really trying to grow your toolkit. So I'm really up for analogies, but you have like certain types of hammers and screwdriver and whatever, and then you want to add something to it that makes sense.
Or you
So
can also DM random content managers, and that's how you met me.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, or yeah, actually, this what we were doing. We were like kind of what was it like? Lunch dating professionally. So
I
Camille
thought
and
you
I were
guys would
back in
pay
the
for
day.
that meal, to be honest.
Uh-oh.
Sorry,
Uh-oh.
I think we had budget cuts back in the days. We were poor Berlin startup. No, but we were so
Once
Camille and I
again.
we were like cherry picking people on LinkedIn from the Berlin tech content community, and we were like, hey, let's talk to them, let's hang out, and just learn from each other. And I think this was another great format. I think it was before COVID. Yeah. So yeah, as I said, many different ways, and for me, it definitely helps me. But I also observe a lot. So I'm among my colleagues and trying to get some empathy. So for what a SDR team lead does, why he she is doing the job, and what kind of keeps her busy and so on. So I also try to learn from that.
Yeah, I was always bothering you and Camille with like, hey, I think we should do content. I really need this. I'm like, yeah, sure, no, like leave us alone. Jane, besides like unpaid lunches, how do you get ideas?
Oh, no, that's my only way. Um, I think definitely reaching out to the customer success team. So our customer success, we have a customer marketing team now, and I think yeah, the best person to ask for me, in my opinion, is the product team and yeah, the CSM team. So since I don't have direct connection to the customers, I will say like, hey, what's a recurring question that
Yep.
I wish I had a document for this because I've answered this question like 50 times. Or if I'm going to do a technical article about like our SDK, I'll go to our customer success engineer and say, hey, what would make it faster for you to like what would cut time from you? Like what's something that you're always repeating? And then I'll go and try to like write something for him or them. Um, so just like, yeah, going back to the qualified leads, like just trying to find out who did we serve best before and what can we do for people like them. So yeah, so either people internally in our team. I find hard to find online like inspiration. Like I'll see something like another team did and try to adapt it. Actually, Camille, I saw your recent ebook and I shared it in my team. I was like, this looks hot. We should do something like this.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
It was on the banking one.
That's
Yeah.
our newest latest project. Was very excited about that one.
Yeah, because
So yeah, great.
we just did a webinar on the mobile banking experience, and then yours was the key to customer centric banking, and I was like, interesting. Yeah.
Definitely.
Very
That's
nice.
happy to hear that.
Yeah. I was like,
So
you guys
not
have to do
only
this
from
now.
customers, so not only
Yeah.
from customers, Camille, also from your, fellow colleagues in the industry. That's great.
Yeah,
How is
LinkedIn,
it
of
for
course.
you? Yeah, LinkedIn. Yeah. How is it for you, Camille? How do you get inspired besides your own white papers?
Quite similar, I would say. LinkedIn is super helpful. I don't. I don't know. I think I see a lot of things also through other people liking and just commenting, and I always stumble upon very very interesting content shared by content or marketing professionals. And then I think so that's kind of like on the content marketing side. And of course, there are blogs and interesting resources online. There is one that I particularly like, and I was listening to his podcast for quite some time. It's called Some Good Content from John Bonini. I think his name is also a little bit everywhere on LinkedIn, or at least I've seen him a lot. So I think he's probably quite successful. And besides that, I would say from purely from an industry knowledge, it's really coming from the customer facing teams. And I think to link back to your question before, also related to what does success mean in content marketing, I think that's also really really something to point out there. I think a successful content marketing or marketing team in general is a team that really can get the knowledge and build this strong connection also with customer success or customer facing teams, including sales as well, of course. I think that's super super important. And so you were talking about the banking ebook, for example. This is an ebook on which for which I could on which I could have never worked, let's say, without all the insights. This ebook is pretty much insights from our customer facing teams and referrals from them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's just extremely valuable, and we can't do anything without that. So
Nice.
that's really good.
Very good. In that positive note, I'll just ask the last question. So I don't know if you saw the other episodes, but the last question is always after wrapping up challenges and success and how you do get inspired. I always show a prospecting email that's related to your department, and then basically you tell us if they speak to your heart or if they are very far away. So I will just share it quite quickly. No worries, it's anonymous, so be bold. No, don't be harsh, it's okay. So, hi Camille, or hi Jane, hi Jonathan. With all the content you've been producing weekly, it must be hard to keep it all easily accessible in one place. Company ABC helps you to organize your images, media files, manage licenses, share files in a matter of seconds. Would you like to have a look at it? Cheers, John. Camille, what's your take? Does it speak to you or not really?
It's tough because I have to say when I see these emails, I'm sorry, but I delete them or I don't know.
Don't be sorry.
But no, I think what I notice here is that there is zero personalization with all the content I produce weekly. That means everything and nothing.
Yeah, which content?
Exactly. So I would say for me, one key point is I think the cases in which I would consider a prospecting email would be if I see that the person has really made an effort to actually look at what we do. Yeah, and some of them are super good at it, and they really sometimes even make you doubt: have I spoken to that person in the past? Or I think those are the good ones. This one is too generic, in my opinion.
There are pretty good stalkers out there. Yes, it's true. Jonathan, what's your impression here?
Yeah, I mean, truth to be told, we also have like a channel where we keep like collecting some of the weirdest like inbox cold emails and so on, like really cringe and so on. This is not cringe, and this is not weird, not that you get me wrong, but this one
All right,
wouldn't be
good.
for me the right channel and the right approach. So how I think it works better for SEO at least, and maybe also a bit for content. So there are certain subject matter experts. For instance, there's Kevin Indig. He's a German, originally from Germany, but he's got quite a big shot in SEO, also in the States and so on. And those guys sending out newsletters, and they have in those newsletters or also in those podcasts, they have, of course, they have sponsors. So they sneak in a little reference to a certain tool that they recommend. And of course, I'm guessing they get paid for it. But for
Yeah,
me, a personal opinion by a subject matter expert that I follow or by friends. So this is word of mouth. This is works way better for me. So I also wouldn't really think about those emails. I think I once went for like an offer from a vendor and someone who wrote me like a cold email approach via LinkedIn, but this was really one exception. I would really never respond to those emails, even if they would, I don't know, just bombard or put so many logos and references and stuff in this email. It wouldn't do anything to me. It would just, I would be like, hey, I don't know you, you don't know me, what do you want? So
I guess that
I
person
would
is a
go
genius
for
then.
different
Yeah, what
channels.
convinced you? I wanted to
Yeah,
ask you.
I want to hire that person if
What
you could send
convinced
me
you to
the
go for that
profile.
one person?
Yeah, it was just a good buyer context, I was looking, so I had a bit of something going on with like off-page SEO. I needed a vendor. One dropped out, or where I said, nah, it's not working anymore. So I was casually looking, and then those guys came with a very down-to-earth, very like simplistic, not showing off, just via LinkedIn. And it was not pushy. It was really like, as I said, down to earth, straight to the point, no bullshit.
And in the right
Um,
timing. I think that's the most important part of the
yeah, right
story.
timing, right context. That was the key. And then I was looking up the company. I was like, oh, it's a small company. Let's dig into that. They might be nice. I can help them. Or I don't know. I know some of the context there, the timing was the right one. And I don't know, like the person somehow. Um, but it was on
Nice.
LinkedIn. So, no.
Very good.
But other than that,
Still a
word of
still a
mouth,
genius.
recommendations. No, I think this person just got lucky with me, to be honest. Was
Harsh.
just this one exception. Yeah, I don't know. What can you say?
Very good. Jane, last but not least, what's your take here?
I mean, I have such a powerful spam filter. I don't think this would even make it to my inbox. But like typo in the first sentence, I'm like, ew. So I don't respond to, I do respond to some LinkedIn messages, but emails, like, I don't think I've ever responded to an email outreach. Um, yeah, like Camille said, it was like not specific enough, and not tailored enough. I did get duped once into a sales call once on LinkedIn, and they saw that I was in a group, like a women's kind of like leadership group, and they saw it as like something we have in common. Like, do you want to chat? And I mean, with that email, it's like not, yeah, like I said, not specific enough and not tailored enough. Yeah.
Sneaky, huh? Sneaky.
Very sneaky.
Yeah, we are terrible. Good. On that note, thank you everyone for spending the time with me and with us, and to enlighten us more about what you do and what a content manager role entails. So Jane, Camille, Jonathan, thank you so much to speak with me today. And I'll see you around LinkedIn or maybe Berlin. So have a good day.
Thanks, Mafalda.
Thank you, Mafalda.
Thank you.